I often wonder why a temple was built at the place of enlightenment of Buddha. Was it to remember or commemorate the great event? While talking of temples, I cannot help but think about the very purpose of these huge structures. I mean, were they just a place of worship? Or did they carry a deeper spiritual meaning that has now been overshadowed by rituals? Now, that is a question I must find the answer to.
हाँ तन राम का मंदिर साधु भाई काया राम का मंदिर अरे इना मंदिर की शोभा प्यारी इना मंदिर की शोभा प्यारी शोभा जब है सुंदर साधु भाई तन राम का मंदिर.
It is not just religion. Don't push them aside as religion. It is the desire to maintain the highest form of civilization. A tree is a temple. A flower is a temple. A fruit is a temple. According to Hindu tradition, the human body itself is temple. Deho devalaya prokto.
हाँ तन राम का मंदिर साधु भाई काया राम का मंदिर.
We as human beings would like to create something new. A simple structure, a hut is a temple. Yes, it is a temple. But you articulate several ideas, several philosophical ideas through the structure. And where these are done according to prescribed texts, which are called Vastu, this prescribed textual construction makes it a classical temple. In the forest, there is no structure, but you put an image there and worship it. You ask our people, they will say this is a temple. Where is the structure? There is no structure. There is an image. Then the whole forest is a temple.
According to yoga, certain points in the human body are more energetic and purer. Yoga also regards certain places on earth as more energetic and pure. These splendid places of divine presence are called Kshetra or Tirtha. The Mahabharata has described hundreds of such places as Tirthas. People have been going on pilgrimage to these Tirthas from time immemorial. The position of these Tirthas created a sacred map of India, which is deeply imprinted in the minds of Hindus. Therefore, they long for an undivided India. But they also know that the real Tirtha is the mind. That mind, which is the pool of patience, filled with the crystal clear water of truth, is a Tirtha. A person who practices non-possession and has risen above the duality of life is also a Tirtha. Indians with their holistic worldview perceive the inner and outer world as deeply connected. When a man manifests divine inner experience into the world by means of Vastu Shastra, then the structure that is created is a temple. A temple is a creative communication of the inner experiences into the outer world. The word temple became popular much later. In Sankhya, the philosophy of yoga, the word that is used for consciousness is Purusha, meaning that which resides in the Pura or boundary. Consciousness resides in Pura. In Bali, Indonesia, temples are still called Pura. Before the construction of these Pura, simple pavilions were made for dhyana, meditation. And even before these, there were Yajna Mandapas, pavilions of fire altars. A Yajna is made within the premises of temples even today.
These all come from Vedic altars. In Vedic tradition, you have different types of altars were built. So depending upon to which deity that altar is used, the shape varies. And it is from those altars which were done according to mathematical calculation of the Vedic age. The temples also were laid out according to square, rectangle, and so on. So they are derived directly from the Vedic altars.
These pavilions were made from perishable things like wood and bamboo.
So to understand Veda, you need 6 limbs. Similarly, to understand a temple, a Hindu temple, you have 6 basic angas, basic parts in the vertical level. One is called Adhisthana, the base. The second is called Bitti, wall. The third is Cornice, Kapota. Then Griva is neck. And then the head is Sikhara. And then Stupi. Stupi is the topmost part. Then each anga is further subdivided into, for example, the Adhisthana is divided into Kura, Jagati, Kumuda, and Pattika, and so on. There are articulated moldings. They give you architectural beauty. And this beautiful construction is connected with the constellations, the nature.
The education of a Hindu used to begin with the study of the script, design, and arithmetic from the age of 5 till the age of 12. This rock edict, dated 163 BC, says that the great Jain King Kharvel, after finishing his basic education at the age of 16, further studied the script, design, and mathematics in detail for the next 9 years to master them. Around that time, several treatises were available on town planning and temple architecture, based on design and mathematical calculations. They say that the first step in building a temple is the selection of land. When selecting the site, they were not only careful about ventilation and light, etc., the landscape itself was very thoughtfully decided. The importance of higher and lower plains, the size and shape of land, the forest and vegetation, the rivers and lakes around, all find a place in these texts. These texts describe how the abode of the gods should be. What is the reason that on the skyline of Varanasi, this mosque is visible and not the adjacent Kashi Vishwanath temple? It is because the mosque is standing right at the sacred spot of the landscape, which makes it look prominent. The architects of the sacred temple had once chosen that point.
So, the Vastu texts prescribe how to select a beautiful site for building a temple.
The selection of the site of a temple cannot be based only on physical factors. There is much more than that. Once Adi Shankar was passing by this place. He was wonderstruck on seeing a scene. A pregnant female frog was in labor pains, suffering under the hot sun. A nearby snake was protecting her with his hood. The Acharya immediately decided to build a temple there. At the site of a temple, the life-giving energy should always be greater than the life-destroying energy. It is through temples that the life-giving energy flows into society. These sacred places were either destroyed or seized, and with this, the life-giving Vastu structure of India was severely damaged.
The whole cosmos into it, level the ground and draw a sort of grid on it. Generally, according to Indian tradition, 8 into 8 is 64 squares, or 9 into 9 81 squares. And in the center of it, we invoke the presence of God in the sanctum. Around it, we distribute all the nature's power symbolically. There need not be any figure, but the space itself is invoked as the cosmic powers. For example, the square, which is divided into 8 into 8 64, or 9 into 9 81, will have a central 9 into 9. 9 squares will be there in the center. That is what we call the Garbhagraha, where the sanctum tower is erected. Surrounding it, we have several squares, and these are divided into 12 squares. These 12 squares represent the 12 months of the year, which we call the Surya, the movement of Surya, the sun, through the 12 months. And these small squares at the outer, they are considered the nakshatras, the stars, which are localized. And then you have also got the constellations, grahas. So, nakshatra, graha, tara, mandala.
Brahma created the cosmos. Brahma dwells within this cosmos. In Sanskrit, dwelling means vas. Therefore, the cosmos is the dwelling, the Vastu of Brahma. Brahma is infinite and directionless. Formless Brahma is infinite and directionless. On seeing this with divine eyes, a warrior like Arjun was filled with fear. He calmed down only after seeing the four-armed form of Vishnu. The four-armed form of the formless is this. One gets a sense of direction from this form, and the mind is at peace. The square is a geometric form. Yantras are made from squares, triangles, and circles. Yantras are forms that can become vehicles for spiritual power. There are many yantras. The Buddhist temple of Borobudur is a Sri Yantra built on multiple triangular shapes. Therefore, the square is the fundamental dwelling place of Brahma, called the Vastu Purush Mandal. Generally, dwelling places of humans are square-shaped, and temples are also built in square shapes.
We call Digdevatas. They are the personified 8 directions. Then you have one down and one up, or localized in the Vastu Pada. In the center is the supreme deity which you install. It manifests in different forms.
The shapes of cuboids, pyramids, prisms are found in many civilizations. But the immense beauty of the curved shikhar is found only in Indian civilization.
The Khajuraho temples, they were conceived as mountains, either Kailasa or Meru. So, and that is also mentioned in their inscription, that the king built the temple like Meru, that is for the Vishnu temple, or if it is a Shiva temple like Kailasa. And even they have shown the temples like mountains by having graded spires, the main shikhara is there. On it are the multiples of the shikharas, which are very, very gracefully, very, they are arranged very rhythmically on the main spire. So you can see ascent and descent of spire, as Stella Cramrish describes in a Hindu temple, ascent and descent, reminding us also of the creation and dissolution of the universe, so that sort of, and when the light falls on them at twilight, at Sandhya, you can see the rhythm so well. You can experience the rhythm, particularly in the Kandariya Mahadev temple.
Indian architects blended geometrical shapes with nature to create an amazing rasa of beauty. An awestruck person wonders, are these the 5 shikharas of the Sumeru mountains or the closed buds of the lotus? Ancient Indians believed that the absence of beauty is inauspicious. Therefore, they used to decorate their walls beautifully. Beautiful in Sanskrit is Sur, which means Devta. They envisioned Devtas even in the mountains. Here, the undesired stone was chiseled away and an abode of Devtas was revealed. This is the most amazing temple on earth. The court historians of the Islamic invaders who destroyed it wrote that the attack on this temple was an attack on beauty itself. Several Muslim rulers destroyed it many times, but even in its mutilated and burnt form, it is a wonder of the world. Painted with flower, vegetable, and gold colors, how magnificent it must have looked in its original grandeur. An inscription says that when the Devtas saw it from their celestial vehicles, Viman, they were awestruck by its splendor and beauty. They said, it cannot be merely an artistic creation. It is self-manifestation, a Swayambhu. In fact, Swayambhu is Brahma. We find its indication in the temple. Indication here means Linga. Smoke is the indication or the Linga of fire. The way smoke is the Linga of fire, the same way the cosmos is the Linga of Brahma. There are 3 realities of the cosmos. There is a beginning and there is a dissolution of the cosmos. In between, there is a state of preservation. The geometrical form through which these 3 realities are understood is called the Linga. This cuboid represents the creator, Brahma. Emerging from the top of this cuboid is a cylindrical form. This is the preserver, Vishnu. His creative presence in the cosmos is understood in the 8, 16, 32, and 64 facets of color, the arts. But in the end, this beautiful world dissolves into formlessness. The last end part represents Mahakal, the end of time. Through continuous abhishekam with water, we try to slow down the process of destruction. O Shambho, let there be no untimely death. Creation, preservation, and dissolution. These 3 forces could not have created the world if there was no Shakti, the power to hold them together. She is the yoni, womb of the world. There are some references in the Puranas where Linga and yoni are associated with the procreative parts of the human body. Nature in the human body and the sculptor in the idol both have taken this form from the core of creation. There is no darkness of animalistic lust in the primordial core. The conscious energy there is radiantly luminous.
The Linga Purana says that Linga is Jyoti, Param Jyoti.
The body is a mini cosmos. The Mooladhara of the cosmos is described in the form of Jyotirlinga, and the same is described for our Mooladhara. Here, the primordial energy lies in the form of Kundalini. The upward movement of this energy is blissfully celebrated by the yogis, and householders celebrate it in procreation.
भूतनाथ की मंगल होरी, भूतनाथ की
is a devta here, known as Kamdev. Before the arrival of intolerant religions in India, there were temples of Kamdev all over the country. Young men and women used to go there for worship and celebration. The same celebration later turned into the Festival of Colors, Holi. At the onset of spring, nature and humans celebrate with colors together. This celebration for Indians is an expression of gratitude towards the powers of nature. These powers are devtas. But who are these devtas? The Pandavas were mighty warriors. The sculptors could have made their figures masculine. But then the attention of the seeker would be limited to the body. Hence their eyes are crafted to look within. The inner flow of rasa of the Indian artist was so intense and dynamic that observation of their art can bring samadhi to the trained mind.